All right, my backup recording is going. So whenever you have yours going, Jake.
My backup is also going.
My back in general is not doing well. Jamie, are you also recording?
No. Yeah, Jamie, we're also now doing. We all have to record, and we all post the episode separately.
You don't have to record this episode. You just have to record something while we're also no. All right.
Okay.
I'm ready to get this show on
I'm not
the road.
talking this whole episode, just like Rob. I'm done. I'm not talking. No, okay. I'm good to go whenever. I already said that. I'm sorry. It's not good.
Rob, since you don't want to talk, intro the podcast.
All right. Here we go. Here we go.
It didn't even pick up.
It's not picking
it's too
up.
loud.
Yeah, it's not picking up.
Spotify people, Rob is desperately trying to play a harmonica right now, and it's not working.
Oh my god.
That was what the context was, Jamie, is that he brought this harmonica to work, and someone was like, play Piano Man, and Rob was like, no.
Not just someone, like 8 separate people asked me to play Piano Man, and I don't know how to play Piano Man.
I don't remember how Darth Vader came into the equation, but...
I
don't remember how that happened.
I found the first note, but it won't pick up. All right, welcome to the
Really trying to blow into harmonica is like a desperate cry for help.
Well, that was actually the funniest thing someone said at a certain point after hours and hours of just playing singular notes on the harmonica at work. One of my coworkers was like, "Yeah, it's crazy. He can't play a single song. It's just sad breathing through a harmonica." Yeah, welcome to the Buttery Males podcast. My name is Rob Morrissey. Joined with me as I'm sorry, I'm a guest, by the way.
Yes,
joined with me. I'm joined with, as always, 2 of my favorite hosts, Jake Demansky and Jacob Boyer. How are you doing, guys?
Real good, Rob. Thanks for asking. We appreciate you doing the interview for once. Jesus Christ.
Jacob, I just want to point out, you said doing good. Superman does good.
Oh, I do well. Yep. Listen, I have an Emmy, so... No, I'm just kidding.
Slam dunk. Balls in the face as he slam dunks over me.
And we're joined with we're joined by returning guest of the podcast, Jamie. How are you doing, Jamie?
The OG Buttery Female coming at you live.
The OG Buttery Female. There we go.
Summoned by Axe and Gamer Girl P.
The only thing that's keeping us from being Me Too'd, even though we're not bad men.
I'm realizing as of lately, all of our irony and sarcasm is not really being picked up the way we thought it would be.
Neither is the harmonica. It's okay.
God damn you! I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Well, yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, Jake, because for longtime listeners who might be curious, we have a very famous listener now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Very good man. I'm sure he has lots of good opinions. Republican state representative. What's his name? Michael Epstein.
Michael Epstein.
Delaware State Representative Mike Smith. He's a Republican.
I
hope that it's not just a random intern who accidentally followed us on his boss's account and then was like, "Oh shit, now I can't unfollow it." I really hope that it's just the guy, and this is what this podcast is what gets him canceled. Is because the left will be like, "Look at what he listens to."
I hope so.
say.
He's like 1,000 followers and he has a blue check. Like, I don't know how the fuck that happened.
We're famous. We fucking made it, baby.
We
like,
did it, gamers.
We did it.
yeah, I don't know why anyone's upset right now.
What'd you say,
I
Jamie?
guess I'm not upset.
I have a stupid story.
What's your stupid story?
Let's
Do
hear it.
you ever say you think a word is said this way, but it's actually not?
Oh, like a mispronouncing, kinda?
I-
Like, what do you mean?
Kind of. Okay.
Like
so
granite
there's
and granted.
There's two words. For the longest time, I thought. You know what Epsom salt is?
Yeah.
Epstein salt. That's
Epstein
I called
salt?
it Epstein salt.
Very funny.
Because my boyfriend was trying, because he was aching from work. So he's like, I'm just going to go douse my feet in some Epsom salt. And I was like, wait, I thought that was Epstein salt. And he just looked at me and started cackling.
He's
The
like,
other
oh, what a
one was-
great joke. What a great
The
joke. And you're just like,
other
what?
one was- the other one was Molotov cocktails. I thought it was Mazel Tov cocktails.
Mazel
Oh my
Tov
gosh.
cocktails.
And the funniest part, the guy I was dating at the time, I told that to, I was talking about Left 4 Dead,
Mhm.
and I said that he's Jewish.
Yeah, I was gonna
Mazel
say,
Tov
that might be
cocktails.
slightly more problematic than
No, he thought it was hilarious. God bless him.
It is actually really funny, like, because it is a genuine mistake. That's
Yeah.
actually kind of like adorable. Is Mazel Tov cocktail. He's like,
Mazel Tov.
It sounds
What?
so much more wholesome than
Exactly.
everything is on fucking
It's
fire.
like a celebratory drink.
Surprise! Your house is on fire.
so wait, Epstein salt is when you have Epsom salt on the Lolita.
Exactly.
Yes, there you It's when you do bath salts while giving Jeffrey Epstein a massage. It's just a
We're just
horrible
exercising
experience.
Jeffrey Epstein.
What's that?
What about Jeffrey Epstein?
We're exercising him with the salt.
Oh yeah. The spirit
Yeah.
need to get out of here, and that's how you
Make a salt circle of
Cleanse away.
protection, yeah.
evil.
Exactly.
I love that.
You're very simple.
Speaking of cleansing away evil, like you do with spirits, you send them away. One might say that they've been spirited away. We're talking about Ghibli movies tonight.
Yeah.
See how I didn't give you shit for that?
You look so, Jake. You look so fucking proud of that. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, guess what?
Well, it's because Jake had
like a
did
dad
a
joke and waiting to happen.
well, Jake had a transition last week that we all gave him shit for that was equally as bad, if not, if anything, mine was worse than what he did. But
It
Jake
was
is,
worse.
but
Yours was
but
way
but Jake is the better person who chose not to insult me for that.
I just sat here with a smile on my face. 'Cause honestly, I felt some kinship in that transition. So yeah, we're here talking about Studio Ghibli.
Is it, speaking of mispronounced words, is it Ghibli or
Yeah.
Ghibli, or can you say it
What is
either
it?
way?
I say Ghibli.
It's
Say
Ghibli.
Ghibli. It's the new GIF
Rob
versus
says
GIF
Ghibli.
debate.
Yeah, I say Ghibli. I don't know if I'm the weird one.
It's the new
Say Epstein.
Good days.
Studio Epstein.
Studio Epstein. It's the new GIF versus GIF debate. Is it Ghibli or Ghibli?
It's GIF.
Never.
It
it's
is.
Never
It's
GIF.
GIF. It's
Never
GIF.
GIF is the
I
peanut butter
agree.
that I cannot have
Oh.
Wait, why can't
Wait,
you
why
have
not?
Jif?
because it's been recalled.
Oh.
There was
Yeah.
batches of it that had salmonella.
Like
Yikes.
from the
Whoa.
dawn of time. Like it's
Just
been
in perpetuity.
recalled, like, yeah.
Salmonella
What's
was
in
the
the
secret
Disney vault
ingredient.
Yeah, conservatives are worried like the government's gonna knock on their door and take all their Jif away. It's tough. But
Your memes end here.
that's actually so funny.
I was so
But-
proud of myself.
But yeah,
It's
we're
like,
talking
it's
about
like the meme stuff where it's like, how fucking stupid do you have to be to think it's meme? Like,
The
what the
hacker-
fuck is wrong with you?
The hacker known as 4chan. Lest we forget.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
oh my gosh.
So Ghibli.
So Ghibli, yes.
So
So
Jiggly.
Ghibli.
we brought you on, Jamie, because you are famously a resident weeb, self-proclaimed resident weeb.
Claimed.
So I figured.
What's your
we'd have
hidden
some...
jutsu?
My hidden jutsu? None, because I never watched Naruto.
Okay.
Oh,
So you're a
Yeah.
top tier weeb because you avoided Naruto.
actually.
It's not really worth going. Thank you, Rob. It's not really worth going into. If I'm being honest, I've watched it all, and no Studio Ghibli or Ghibli. I'll say that. But we're talking about like the top tier anime. Like in my opinion, I think like the best shit that's out there. And that's
It's
ever
no
been made.
Gundam, okay? That's...
Oh, okay. I kind of agree with you. Yeah, it is no Gundam. Gundam's fucking great, and it's also continuity is hard to fucking follow. But yeah. Speaking on like you being a weeb, I think I am too, Jamie. But what was like your intro into? I guess just anime in general. Like what kind of got you into it?
Alright, so the easy answer would probably be Pokemon, because everyone was into Pokemon around my age, because I was at I think the very end of the Pokemania boom.
Okay.
But I think I didn't really consider it anime then. I considered it just a cartoon at the time, because it was on Cartoon Network with all the other stuff. When I first really saw anime as anime, that first show would be Detective Conan.
Ooh.
If you've ever heard of it. Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Sounds really
yeah.
familiar, but I don't know. I'm looking it up right now because
I think
like,
it's the
really
longest running manga series.
The Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, you found out about it.
Oh yeah, this does look familiar. Yeah, I've never seen this, but this wasn't on Adult Swim or Toonami, was it?
It was on Funimation.
Okay.
But I think they actually had it on Adult Swim. I'm not sure. Probably a long time ago.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that. It does look good. Like Conan O'Brien's right on the title.
It's a detective anime. It's about a teenage detective prodigy who through a shady organization gets basically like mugged and drugged and turned into a kid. And
Wait, so he was a teenager who then becomes like a little kid?
Yes, like
Okay.
he's like 10.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and so he basically is trying to find out more about the organization that basically did this to him and try to find the antidote. But also, he's living in his best friend's house, who her father is a detective. And so they basically go around and solve a lot of murder mysteries around Japan.
Okay.
Huh.
Is this like for a younger audience, or does it have darker themes to it?
Yeah, it's a murder mystery show. It's for like 5-year-olds.
I wouldn't say it's like Scooby-Doo. I would say it's a lot more serious than Scooby-Doo.
Well, okay, shit. I
This
wish I could.
little kid detective with like a full-on trench coat and a fedora, and he has a cigar. He's like, "Yeah, I've seen it all before."
Just sawed off.
Yeah.
Seen
it all before.
Full-on
Haven't heard
adults.
the name in years.
Full-on adults are like vomiting at the crime scene. It's rookies.
Actually.
Rookies. I have a great my first introduction to anime, aside from like, cause I was the same way, just with Yu-Gi-Oh instead of Pokemon, but my first introduction to anime was my friend, who I won't say him by name, but we all know who this is. We were he and I were having a sleepover at my house when we were both
Steven
in like
Spielberg.
second or third grade. When we were both in like second or third grade, and we were watching Cartoon Network, and we stayed up a little bit.
How old are you?
We stayed up a little bit too late, and we caught the beginning of Adult Swim, and I didn't know what Adult Swim was. I just assumed, oh, okay, now it's just more cartoons. And then we watched, it was Robot Chicken first, and then some anime came on after that, and we were just staying up because we hoped more Robot Chicken would come on, because we thought that was the funniest thing we had ever seen. And this anime came on, and it was like shots of like Tokyo or something at night, and there was like fireworks and shit going off, and it goes to this like this bridge, and there are these like two like thugs squaring off against like this like woman in a trench coat and like sunglasses and all that. And the opening line of dialogue is one of the thugs just screaming, "You bitch," at her. And little kid brain was just like, that's so fucking funny. Why need to know what this is?
Did you ever learn what anime
I
that
don't
was?
know what anime that was. And I want the anonymity to be preserved in my mind.
I want to say it's Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the
Yeah.
Shell? Oh,
It definitely
maybe.
could be.
Ghost
Well,
in the
maybe
Shell was
Trigon.
definitely on around that time.
I'll have to.
Could have been Bebop.
Maybe
Could
I'll.
have been Cowboy Bebop.
Maybe
it
I'll
could have
do
been
some
Bebop, but I
research.
don't know if it would have. If it
I could
was
see
longer.
Faye Valentine in a trench coat.
It's funny you
Yeah.
bring up Bebop because much like all of you, I think Pokemon is the easy kind of like everyone's seen it, but I had a similar experience of like because Toonami used to run on Saturdays, and I didn't really understand the difference between Toonami and Adult Swim. And one of the first animes I ever saw that wasn't like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh was at least like more traditional anime, not including like Gundam and stuff, was definitely Cowboy Bebop. And I remember very distinctly watching a couple episodes of Cowboy Bebop on Adult Swim, and my mom just being like, "Oh, it's just like Toonami. Like it's he's okay to watch this. It's totally cool." And yeah, changed the game, man. Fully changed the game.
Bebop is so good. I think Toonami for most people our age was like a intro to a lot of anime for us.
It was my
I
intro to One Piece.
oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I got into One Piece way later. I used to shit on One Piece all the time. I was a DBZ kid growing up, and like Gundam Wing, and then when I saw like Inuyasha like on Adult Swim late at night, I started to be like kind of afraid of some anime because it was like Inuyasha was fucking horrifying.
Intense.
But to transition back into like Studio Ghibli, like I remember seeing Spirited Away when it had come out, either like a year or two after it come out, and like talk about things that scared the shit out of me. That movie really fucking scared me as a kid, and I hadn't watched it since until just recently. I just did a deep dive on Studio Ghibli or Ghibli, and I tried watching as many as I could before this episode. But yeah, watching Spirited Away again, there were still some things I found creepy. And I don't know if that's from childhood trauma or not, but
I think
Okay,
it's fair
I
to
think
say
for
that
me,
Spirited Away is probably the
baby
gateway
freaked me
Ghibli.
out.
wait, what'd you say? The baby creeped you out?
The baby, the giant baby.
Big baby?
Yeah, I
Oh,
thought it was
gosh.
really weird, but I was like hypnotized by Spirited Away, because I remember it came on Cartoon Network, not Toonami, but Cartoon Network specifically had a premiere where they played Spirited Away on broadcast, and
Huh.
I remember watching the bathhouse scene where they cleanse the river spirit,
Dude.
like the big, really messy one,
Yeah.
like covered in like gunk and bicycles and all this stuff, and no
Trash.
one wanted to help it
Yeah.
except for Chihiro. And then she like basically pulled the plug, and this like weird spirit came out, and I was like, "Wow, this is so cool."
That was the part that like clicked with me. I watched it 2 days ago, and like when his like old disgusting like detached jaw face comes up and says like well done. Yeah, I was like, this would have scared the shit out of me as a kid. I didn't remember that as a kid, but I know that
Trance.
would've
I was
scared
like,
kids.
"What is that?"
What is this fucked up
Am
thing?
I the only one here who didn't watch any Ghibli movies until they were an adult?
I think so. My exposure was my dad just randomly bought a bunch of the DVDs, and then my siblings and I just binged them all the time.
Okay.
The ones that were on heavy rotation in my house were Spirited Away, Castle in the Sky, The Cat Returns, Porco Rosso, and then Ponyo. and then I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was one I've always wanted to watch. Actually,
Same.
I haven't
never
seen
watched it.
Porco Rosso in years. It wasn't super memorable compared to the other ones. Like Castle in the Sky is still my favorite. Spirited Away is a close number 2. Ponyo was pretty good in hindsight.
weird. I actually saw it recently, like a few months ago. Recently,
Only like first time recently, or just or
Yep.
rewatching it recently. Oh wow.
first time. It was weird, but like whimsical, silly weird. I had a
Mhm.
good time, but it like made no sense.
Amy, that was my exact impression. I just watched Ponyo like probably 4 days ago, and I thought like every Ghibli movie, it's beautiful. Like and especially if it's directed by Hayao Miyazaki, like there's always something like it's kind of just right about it and wholesome, and like the whole movie's alive in like the best way possible. Yeah, watching Ponyo, I was like, there's some things where it feels like some information is just like lost to me. Like it feels like they just needed to get to a certain place in the story. So like just things happen where I'm just like, this whole thing is very strange. But it's cool nonetheless. Like there's a lot of cool stuff going on. But another thing about Miyazaki's contributions as a director to any of the ones he does, it's like, which I don't actually know if he did Ponyo or not, but it feels like there was like no deeper theme when it came to Ponyo, really. Like, I guess usually there's like a subtext to the movies that's like pretty important. Like there are some pretty mature themes that come along, but Ponyo just kind of felt like
nobody
hey,
really learns a lesson in Ponyo. Like they just kind of go on an adventure.
Yeah.
Like be nice to fish.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the whole inspiration for Ponyo was that it was Miyazaki's take on the Little Mermaid.
okay, I could see
Because
that.
it was more so Ponyo wanted to be a human because she felt a connection with Sosuke.
Okay, yeah, and you are right. It was Miyazaki that did that. I didn't know that for sure, but yeah, you're right. I think like that's kind of really present when you see Ponyo's mother, who's like the goddess of the sea. She's like
lady.
Yeah, she's like a giant, beautiful.
Put Lady Tiramisu to shame.
She's like awesome, and like I don't know. Did you watch that in English sub or dub?
In sub. And
Watch
you know
it in
what's so
sub.
wild? Oh, not sub, dub.
Me too.
You know what's so wild is one of the old ladies is voiced by Betty White, God rest her soul.
Yeah, and the other one is Cloris Leachman, and Cloris Leachman is in so many of these
Miyazaki ones.
Ghibli movies. It's
so
fucking
crazy.
wild.
Matt Damon is the dad of the kid who has like
Nope.
2. It's not. I thought it was Matt
Liam
Damon.
Neeson.
No.
No.
The boy's dad.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, and he has
Tina
like
Fey is his mother.
he only has like 2 lines. He's like, "Hey, there's my boy," and the boat like goes away. Like that's all he does. That's his whole
Yeah.
contribution.
He's
to the
basically
movie.
sent off to ocean jail for the whole movie.
Okay, so the craziest one, the first Ghibli movie I watched was Howl's Moving Castle,
That's good.
which is maybe my favorite one. If you watch Howl's Moving Castle, near the end of it, you hear the Christian Bale Batman voice a year and a half before he played Batman, and that blew my motherfucking mind. For real.
Bale was Howl, wasn't he?
Yep. Yeah. And it's such a 1-for-1, the Batman voice to like Howl's like demon voice that it like kind of freaked me out the first time I saw
Watch
it.
that again
Actually,
and hear it.
It's well, I went into it with Rob telling me that. Rob said, Howl's Moving Castle is the fucking one. Like, you gotta watch this. You'll hear Batman before Batman. And I gotta say, Rob, I have been running through these Ghibli movies, and I think Howl's is maybe my absolute favorite. I think also, like, out of, like, we've talked about this off podcast, that the fact that, you know, Ghibli gets these huge name actors to always be great voice actors in these movies is really something to watch. Like, normally I'm a sub guy. I will watch animes like hardcore and sub. That's just how I've always been.
Yeah.
With each one of these, I looked for the English dub because I wanted to hear these actors I know do their part. And
especially in Howl are great.
oh my god,
Yeah.
it's so good.
I think that's the one that's the funniest for me because the person who does old lady Sophie is so
Oh,
funny. Like
yeah.
there's a scene where she's going to go and I think see the old empress or something, and she's like, he's gonna give me a signal and let me know that he's here. That could be him or that could be him, and then it just sees like this like young soldier taking a girl for like a ride on a plane, and she just does a smirk like, that could be him. I think the delivery is so good. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
The dubs in
Her-
Ghibli movies as a whole are always fantastic. The
So
Tier,
good.
yeah.
a big thing for me is like I again just preferring the subtitles is that there's just something about trying to fit the English cadence in something that was animated that in something that was meant for Japanese.
Yeah.
It just is it's hard to do it right, but they always manage to do it in a way that's not super distracting or takes you out of the moment. I really like that about their dubs.
The way you said that is just right too, because there is a little bit sometimes where it's like, that's a little weird. Like you can see
Yeah.
how English doesn't quite fit the cadence, but they do it the best. Yeah, my main point being, I think like out of all of that I've seen so far is like Christian Bale as Howl, I think is the best like voice actor for these Ghibli movies. I just think if he like fits so good as Howl, and I just keep coming back to that as I watch these other ones, and I'm like Spirited Away was really close. I'd say that's like maybe my second favorite, just overall, like Ghibli
Point.
movies. But the voice acting was so good in that too, and I guess I should just ask, what is like each of our favorites? Rob, I would assume it's Howl's moving forward,
Yeah,
right?
it's.
Yeah. Castle
I
in the
really
Sky.
like Kiki's delivery service too, but
Yeah.
it's definitely Howl's for me.
Castle in the
favorite
Sky
is
is
Kiki.
yeah.
My favorite is Kiki's delivery service.
I love Kiki's delivery
It's-
service.
Oh,
It's so good.
I hope post whoever's editing this could put it up, and I'll
I'll do
find
it.
it. God forbid.
Yeah.
I have a picture of me on Halloween one year where I dressed up as Kiki. We
Oh,
did
that's
everything.
awesome.
With the
It
wig
was
and
my
everything.
first time I wore a wig. I have a black cat at my family's house. His name is not Gigi. His name is Luigi.
Oh my god.
And he's voiced by Phil Hartman as well.
He comes back from the dead.
R.I.P.
rest
Phil
his soul.
Hartman. He's like my favorite, maybe like comedian, maybe ever. I don't know. There's a lot up there, but like, I didn't even know he was in the movie, and like when
Honestly,
I hear him talk,
I just think
I was
of
like-
when I think of him, I think of the Sabrina cat. Like it's
Yeah.
the most perfect. It's the perfect like voice for a black cat owned by a witch. It's just
it
it's
really
like
is.
culturally embedded into my brain is Phil Hartman's voice.
Yeah, and who was it? Kirsten Dunst is
Kirsten
Kiki
Dunst was
in the
Kiki.
English dub. It's so good. Like, here's the thing about Kiki's delivery service. It's like compared to. I watched that probably third on my venture through. I haven't watched all of the Ghibli movies, but I'm going to. I'm like still on my quest, but I've watched like maybe 10 in the past like 2 weeks, and when I watched Kiki's, it was like third in line. So I watched what did I watch first? I think I watched Howl's. Oh no, I watched this one called Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
Nausicaa.
That's
I
another
think that was
good
the
one.
first one that came over to the West. It was Nausicaa.
I think you're right, because
Yeah.
it was originally like a project from the like three main people who made Ghibli were Hayao Miyazaki, Isao Hadataka, and there was some other person I forget, but yeah, it wasn't even considered like a Ghibli project because it was before they had come together to make Ghibli. But now that they have made Ghibli, they released it under the Ghibli title, so it is like a Ghibli movie, but kind of before that. But that also has great English voice acting as Patrick Stewart, Mark Hamill. The chick from Drag Me to Hell is in there, and Shia LaBeouf. I should do her some justice.
Shia
by
LaBeouf.
looking at, her name.
What was it?
Um,
What was it? Mark Hamill
Allison-
was actually in Castle of the Sky.
He was the
He
bad.
was,
Yeah.
he was the bad guy.
Yeah. Her name is Allison Lohman, and also Uma Thurman's in that movie too.
Uma Thurman's in that?
Yeah, she's the bad like woman who like wants to bring up the ancient weapon. But anyway,
Interesting.
I wanted to say about Kiki's Delivery Services. I go from Nausicaa to then Howl's Moving Castle. These two kind of like epics in their own right. And then I go to this like kind of slice of life Kiki's, and I'm like, this isn't kind of like, hitting me the same way. And I started watching these other movies. I watched like Ponyo and Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro, and then it like hit me like I was like longing for Kiki's Delivery Service. I was like, I need to go back to that. That was so good. And so like in this way, like I don't know, I just find Kiki so adorable. I find like build up to like this.
It's the like the like weird little like crush romance that they have going on between
With
her and
Tombo and
yeah.
Kiki,
Yeah.
yes.
That's
I have to
awesome.
find
Yeah.
a picture of it, but I went to a convention a couple weeks ago, and I found a really cute frame photo of Kiki and Tombo, and I have it hanging on my wall right now. It's
That's
just in
awesome.
the other room.
I'll Photoshop it next to you in your Kiki outfit when we do
You
the
need
thumbnail.
to send that.
Yeah.
You need to send that for the Instagram so we can
Yes.
put that up. For
I
this
might
episode.
actually the artist is on Instagram, so I might send you the artist info because she's really good.
Yeah, I remember
yeah, we
seeing
would shout
pictures
her out.
after the con, and it was very high quality.
They were absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, Kiki's my favorite for a lot of personal reasons as well, because I think when I first watched it, I was almost 18.
Mm.
And it was at that point of life where I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
now I have to be an adult. Now I have to
Right.
think of what I want to do for the rest of my life. Now I have to make big girl decisions and not sit around on my family's computer watching an anime movie.
Yeah,
But-
there's a lot of that in Ghibli movies of like the childlike sense of wonder kind of colliding with like, oh fuck, reality is here and I have to be an adult.
Mhm.
We haven't brought it up yet, and I don't know if Jake is itching to, but I know that like Princess Mononoke is
Oh wow, yeah.
such a killer. Like you talk about epic. That's the one thing I really appreciate about the Ghibli movies is like they're all epics. Even the small stories like Kiki's Delivery Service, they're somehow like all epics, and I feel like Princess Mononoke is the one for me where like I'd seen Howl's Moving Castle, I'd seen Spirited Away, I'd seen like a decent amount of them, and then I watched Princess Mononoke and I was like, oh my god, this is like the Highlander. Like
Yeah, this is like the Inuyasha Highlander hybrid we've been
Yep.
waiting for.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I was gonna say about Kiki is that one thing that it always gave me was, especially in adulthood, is kind of hope. You know,
Mhm.
'Cause
Yeah.
that's one thing I always worry about in my life is if I'm not doing things right as an adult, am I never gonna find my way? Am I never gonna find my path? But Kiki's kind of taught me that you can stumble, that like things might not always go your way. You might find stresses of balancing your work and your life and your passion. And sometimes you just need a moment to take a break. Sometimes you need a moment to hang out with friends. Sometimes you need something else to kind of help you up along your way. And it just taught me how to live and kind of be a better adult.
I
Yeah.
love that. That is so well said, by the
Mhm.
way. And it's like the thing I felt even at the end of Princess Mononoke, like as well, is that these Ghibli movies make me feel like there's a sense of hope. There's like the sense of after I watch some of these where I'm like I'm inspired to do better. I'm inspired to be a better person. And funny enough, like how you said you were at like this kind of pivotal moment. You were 18 years old watching this, basically a paralleled story to Kiki. You know, she's younger in it. It's like a different kind of, I don't know what you would call that.
Well, like she's at like her, what's the Jewish term for like their
Bar
bar mitzvah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like
witch
when
bar-
you turn 13.
The bar witchma.
The bar witchma. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Where like you turn 13 and you're like, all right, pick what you want to do.
Yeah, like
That's kind of the equivalent I can think of. That's kind of the same for me, but just like culturally my sort of way, you know?
Yeah, and that's what it is for us. Like when we turn 18, is like, okay, you're considered an adult now. Like now it's time to really figure out what you're gonna do.
Even though no one taught me about taxes or anything important.
Yeah, I wish someone.
I'm waiting
I wish I
for-
was 13, tossed out there like that. Honestly, it would have made me a better person. But here I
still go to
am.
my local mall kiosk and hope for help from an agent.
I'm waiting for the. I'm waiting for the.
Hope for help from someone who has it even less figured out than I do.
I'm waiting. Because we're talking about how there's always like some sort of lesson to be learned in a Ghibli movie. I'm waiting for the Ghibli movie that like it has a subtle message of pay your taxes and here's how you do it. Like-
No, it's please reproduce Japan. Please, please,
Yeah.
please.
Come on, get the fucking out there, Japan. But
That
like
was my ex-family's job.
that's one I gotta watch. You know, I hear a lot
Oh,
about
you
that.
should.
Everyone's talking about that right now. But
Honestly, like I went on it a little late after the hype, but it's definitely worth it. I think it's so full of character and it's so adorable and so funny.
yeah, there's like a lot of memes with like that one little girl from the show
Anya.
or Anya. Okay, yeah. But as you were saying, you were 18 watching this and like feeling it was like a pivotal moment. I'm like 28 and I'm watching Kiki's Delivery Service for the first time and I'm like, I gotta do what Kiki's doing. I gotta get the fuck out there.
Gotta fucking just go.
Yeah, I gotta
Become
get a broom.
everyone's flying broomstick Uber Eats girl.
Yeah, but it is so. I feel like the way you like put all that together with like your parallels to Kiki's was like spectacular. By the way, kind of like I was
Thank you.
entranced by what was happening there, and like I don't know. There is just such a magic to these Ghibli movies that it's able to like kind of produce these like pure wholesome thoughts and ideas that like really stick with you, no matter how old you are. Like I'm like I said, 28, and I'm watching some of these, and I'm like, oh, like I gotta change. Like I gotta
Man,
do well
what
for
went
myself.
wrong?
Gotta
Yeah,
change.
gotta change.
Like
What went
here I
wrong?
am, joking about sucking my own dick with Rob. And what the fuck are we
Is this
doing?
podcast-
They're just delivering packages.
Kiki would hate me.
I'm
Jake
trying
is
to
like,
deliver this
I need to go
punchline
deliver-
this
yeah.
spoiled little rich girl, and she's doing it with a smile on her face. Meanwhile, I'm gonna suck my bro's stick. What's wrong with me?
Jake
It's
is like,
Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, Jake's like, I need to go right now. He like rips the headset off, opens up the window, puts a broom between his legs, and just jumps out the window.
But it is kind of funny. It's like Kiki feels like I looked at Kiki and I'm like, damn, you're like more of an adult than I am. She's like, I gotta find somewhere to live. Like, I don't know where I'm gonna live. I'm just out here in this city, and she like, by good grace, like is allowed to stay at someone's house. But she's like, now I gotta make money. Like, oh, I don't have enough money. I guess I'm gonna eat like shit for a while, but that's fine. You know, like I don't know. There's just something about it where it's like, I'm so. Maybe this is telling about what it's like to live in America right now. Like there isn't this sense of wonder can easily escape you because it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
hellscape in America. But at the same time, it is inspirational because it's like she looks at like the hard situations and is like, oh, you know, no one's gonna help
It
me
is
but
what it
me, so
is.
I gotta get out there. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is what it is. Like I gotta
Yeah.
make this happen.
And then you have the inverse
so
of that with the Cat Returns, where Anne Hathaway's character is like, nobody's gonna help me. I need to go pray to this like cat statue for help, and then all of the cats come
Cat
to
Jesus.
life. Yeah, the Cat Returns.
I've never
is a
seen
wild
the Cat
one.
Returns.
It's
But
like
also,
I
yeah.
actually saw the
Same.
movie before it, Whisper of the Heart.
That's what I was just about to tell Jacob because I didn't know if he knew. You told me that you had not seen, or that you had seen The Cat Returns. I saw this cover. What is it? Whisper of the Heart? Is that what you said?
Yep, Whisper of the Heart. That's the prequel movie.
Yeah.
I have not seen that one.
That's the movie where the cat comes from.
You see the cat on the cover art, which is why I was like,
yeah,
that cat looks familiar.
It's that one. It's the cat.
It's funny because
who has returned.
It's funny because when I was a kid. And I hadn't seen any of them yet. I just saw all the covers and like I think I wasn't old again, like what we said earlier. I wasn't old enough to know it was, oh, that's an anime, that's not a cartoon. I just saw, oh, these all kind of look like similar styles, so maybe it's all like a series of movies. So then I watched Spirited Away first, and then we did The Cat Returns next, and my brain was thinking, okay, so this is a sequel because the cat is coming back. But wait, there wasn't a cat in the last one, so where is he coming back
Where the
from?
fuck was the cat during Spirited Away?
So,
he was like scene 122 in the top left corner.
in the very, but yeah, it's like
Eating a bowl of rice while River
King.
Spirit was fucking
I
around.
returned.
Carrie always does the voice of that cat
Yes,
in
he does.
particular, and
He
fucking
does the voice of the original too. In
yeah.
Whisper of the Heart.
And Peter Boyle, the guy who played Frank on Everybody Loves Raymond, plays like the fat crotchety cat, and he was he was always my favorite when I was little. He was so fucking funny.
Like God, the
Andy
guy
Richter
from,
is in it too. Andy Richter
Richter's in it,
is
and
like
so is the guy from
Tim Curry. Tim Curry is the king cat. His like first line is like they carry him in on those like chairs with the poles on either side, and Andy Richter is like the assistant cat who's like, now presenting the king of the cats, and like there's awkward, and he's just like,
he's a sweet
it's the best. He's laying back and he's just like half asleep, and he wakes up, he goes, "That's me, babe." Like, and that's his first line.
That's how a cat should like wake up, like, what's up?
And then they go, they're like, he wants to, we want to express our sincere thanks and gratitude because you so heroically saved the life of the prince cat earlier today, and we don't know, like, goes on this like long tirade about like, we can't thank you enough, and the king would like to show his gratitude, and he's long pause, he's just like, thanks a lot, babe. Like, that was some of the funniest shit ever I saw. It's like Ponyo tier. It's not gonna give you any like, oh my god, amazing, I love it. But it's good, wholesome fun. It's a good one.
Sometimes that's what you need. You just need a slice of something else kind of in there. Well, it is interesting because like, the way the company came together was by, like I said, it's like, Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata, and the other guy's name was where is it? Toshio Suzuki. They formed Studio Ghibli, so we obviously know Miyazaki, but have you guys checked out any of the Isao Takahata? He's like the other kind of star director besides Miyazaki.
No. I had never heard either of their names before you said them.
He did Grave of the Fireflies.
I know that.
Yeah, which I just watched last night for the first time ever.
I've never watched it because I feel like I will have emotional damage.
Jesus fucking Christ!
You 100% will. I like was fucked up from it. Actually, I like
emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
So funny.
I did. I had to take a long walk actually at night after watching it. I'm not even. I like cried. It was so sad.
Probably not good.
You watched it while it was summertime, while there's fireflies.
Yeah, I was gonna say
out.
probably
It's
not good
healthy.
while there's fireflies.
I saw
out.
fireflies. I saw fireflies, and it only reminded me more of my trauma.
And then on your way back, some dude was like, "Hey, have you seen that hit show Firefly by?" And you were just crying.
God, they're everywhere.
And then he pointed at a grave, and he said,
It's
"Fireflies
like,
by the grave."
yeah, there's a lot of fireflies over by that grave. Yeah.
But this guy also did Only Yesterday. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I haven't heard of that one.
About it. Isn't that one of the later ones?
That's actually 1991.
Really?
His more famous one is Pom Poko. If you're
Oh,
familiar
I've
with
heard of
that.
Pom Poko. It's the one with
I
like the
haven't heard of that one.
tanukis, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have not seen. I don't think any others besides Grave of the Fireflies. But he is like he's worked with Miyazaki for a lot of the big ones too. They came together to do Tale of Princess Kaguya. Actually, no, not that one. I'm sorry. Scratch that.
Oh, I was gonna
Rob.
say I want to gush about the art for Princess Kaguya because it's so
Have you seen it?
beautiful. I've seen clips of Princess Kaguya because
Yeah.
when the animator who did that passed away recently, they
Really?
pointed to I think the animator who did that passed away recently, and his work was like circled around, but the one that was circled the most was Tale of Princess Kaguya.
Oh, it looks beautiful, truly. Like even
Honestly.
the cover art looks amazing. But like, so those two guys are pretty much the main directors. Like when you guys were talking about Whisper of the Heart, that was a new director that worked with Miyazaki. That was Yoshifumu Kondo. And then for The Cat Returns, it was Hiroyuki Morita and Raiko Yoshida. I hope I pronounced those right. But it's, like those are just kind of like every now and then we'll get like a new director to do a Ghibli film. But I have to include this because I just watched it today before this record. Oro Miyazaki made 2 movies, and that's Miyazaki's son. And the movie he made in 2006 is called Tales from Earthsea, which is the one I just watched.
No, isn't that the bad one?
Well, there's an even worse one called Earwig and the Witch that was released in 2020, and it is garbage. But it's like funny because every single movie, was made besides all the ones Goro Miyazaki touched, like are just have amazing scores. The 2 movies he did have like horrible reviews. And even though it's like Miyazaki, like they still made a lot of money at all of their releases and everything, but they typically are rated really bad. And I just need to read this really funny quote about how Miyazaki talking about his son's movie.
If anime was a mistake.
He's talking about when he was at the premiere of Tales of Earthsea. And oh god, did I just lose the quote? Oh, okay, here it is. It's when Hayao Miyazaki was asked what he thought of Goro's film. This is all he had to say. I was looking at my kid, period. He's not an adult yet, period. That is all.
Way to say I'm very disappointed in your son.
Yeah, wow.
And I gotta
Ouch.
say, I watched it today, and it lacks like all like magic that a normal Ghibli film would have. But I will say, I also am biased because I heard that quote before I saw the movie. But the English
Heard
dub
it's
is always good. So like you have what's his name? Timothy Dalton, one of the James Bonds, as like
Yeah.
the main arc mage, and he's fantastic. And the main villain is a dark wizard who is voiced by Willem Dafoe, and it is incredible. It is so good. That alone. The story itself kind of sucks. It seems like it's a really basic ass kind of premise and everything, but when it gets down to like those two having dialogue with each other, like especially Willem Dafoe playing a bad guy, it's undeniable. It's so good.
I think that's why Ghibli movies translated to American audiences so well, and I have to think that Miyazaki understood that while he was doing it. Was like, oh yeah, you need like stars in America. You need like people that the average American audience are going to be like, oh, like Christian Bale
Right?
is in this movie, right? Willem Dafoe is in this
Yeah.
movie right now.
Patrick
you know?
Stewart, all the big
Yeah.
names, they come
Mark
out.
Hamill.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I want to talk about a technical Ghibli movie.
Okay.
All right.
You guys hear about Lupin the Third?
Yes.
I've never heard of that one.
Thank
actually.
you.
Oh
Jake
my
and I are
God.
such
Jake,
big
I've been wanting to show
fans.
you Lupin the Third for the longest time. So the movie I wanted to talk
good.
about was Lupin the Third: The Castle of Cagliostro.
Yep.
This was I think this was just before Miyazaki worked on like became like Studio Ghibli with a couple of people.
Right.
Yeah.
They actually worked on a couple of Lupin the Third episodes before.
Yep.
There's a clip going around where it's one of the main characters, Fujiko, is trying to break out of a plane, and like everyone's commenting about how smooth the animation is, and they're like, "What Ghibli movie is this?" And they're like, "No, it's not a Ghibli movie. It's Lupin the Third."
It's a Miyazaki movie, so it's like basically the same.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is when I said earlier Howl's Moving Castle was my first Ghibli movie, my first Miyazaki movie was Lupin the Third, and
Oh my god, I love Lupin.
It's such a vibe. Like it's
over the top.
Such a vibe fest the entire way through.
Yes. Actually, have to maybe take back like if not a tie for Howl's, because Rob and I have gushed about this Lupin movie like to its furthest point.
Cagliostro so
like
much.
I have put it on, like I've watched it like maybe like 10 times, but I put it on in the background like 100 times. Like I fucking love that movie so much.
The combination of like noir detective and like classical like princess in the tower story is just it's so good.
So for someone who actually likes the Lupin the Third series, I always say this is the Lupin the Third movie where he enters into a Ghibli movie. Because the part where he's going in and he's trying to save this runaway bride, etc., and like, oh, this person's being forced to marry like this evil count and all of that, and like, yeah, that definitely sounds like a Ghibli movie plot. But Lupin is there, and he's like, I always think that Lupin as a character can be put into any situation and thrive.
He could be in a Gundam fucking.
Oh my god, I want to see Lupin the Third in a Gundam. Are you kidding me?
I mean, that's a really good point.
Like the characters are so perfectly like well done that you can put them in any situation and they'll fucking bounce off of each other like this, and shenanigans happen.
I have a weird like hot take, I guess. I don't know if you want to call it a hot take.
Go ahead.
I have thought this since I saw I saw that Lupin movie before I ever watched any One Piece, and now I'm a huge One Piece fan. I'm totally caught up in the manga and everything. I think Lupin, his character is like a huge inspiration for Luffy. Like they have such a same energy where it's like Luffy is not nearly as smart as Lupin, but they have the same energy where it's like you kind of can't take them seriously until they need to do the thing that they want to do, and then it's like you just get it done. And I don't know, that's maybe not a good point, but I compare energies.
That way. I can kind of see the vibe you're getting from. It's just more so Lupin always has something up his sleeve. He's that trickster.
True. Yeah. So
he looks like he's not super serious, but behind that suaveness or like that snark, he's like, nah, I got something planned. You're just gonna wait and find out.
And
like,
I guess you're right. Luffy is kind of an airhead.
Yeah, that's probably why he's made of rubber.
There you go. Yeah, I'm so happy you brought up that Lupin movie because it is honestly, Jacob, you need to check this out. It is so good.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
All right.
Yep. Can I also point out one more thing about it before we change over to another movie?
Of course,
please.
There is one quote from the dub that I absolutely love. It towards the end of the movie. It's like a priest in a car. And he's supposed to be the priest that's going to bless the couple on the wedding. That's obviously being forced. And this one like shepherd or something comes up and he's like, please, your holiness, can you please bless my goat so that it doesn't become lame or like it's like not sick. And the goat just bears, and all it just is Heavenly Father, bless this kid, amen. And that's it. I don't know why, just this very basic, like, yeah, sure, whatever. It just laughs, it cracks me the fuck up. Every time I mention it to my boyfriend, we just look at each other and we go, Heavenly Father, bless this kid.
That's so funny.
It's so know. It's just I don't know why it just tickles me.
The animation for Lupin is great. I think like my favorite single like sequence of stuff in this movie is the car chase. And it's just the car is such a ridiculous hodgepodge of mechanics, and it's such a crazy chase scene. I love this movie so much, and it's got this weird level of like James Bond car chase going on, where they're up on two wheels. They're like they blow up the, you know, I think they shoot like grenades back at Lupin's car. Like it's so nuts.
Shoots like tires with like this small like pistol, and it's like got the same oomph as like a Magnum.
Yeah.
I also, the thing I really love about that movie is like, while we talked about it, it's drawn beautifully. That's a given with any of these movies, but like the fact that it's in like old European kind of setting, I love that because it's like old European meeting like New World stuff at the same time. Like there's roads and shit, there's cars being driven around. Lupin has like kind of advanced spy technology.
That's something I thought about like with Howl's Moving Castle, because you have this amazing like World War I Europe with like armies on the move, parades going through towns, like so much
big chimney smokes coming through.
It's again, like I've made a point on this podcast that there are movies and there are films, but then there are movies that are just straight up vibes. Like it's just it's a place you just want to be. Like I watch those movies and I think, man, I wish my reality was half as cool and half as interesting as what's going on in these worlds.
I get a lot of that same sort of like.
I want to be a side character in one of, you know, I don't even need to be a hero. Yeah.
You can.
I want to smell Hal so bad.
You I get that same vibe off of a lot of what's going on in Castle in the Sky too. A bit like feeling like World War I era mixed with a little bit of like European countryside and exactly.
And like old ancient technology that's somehow more advanced than like anywhere where they're at in our lives and in their lives in the story. Like that's always kind of a really cool theme.
Like the airships in Howl's are like so dope. It's so cool. I'm a sucker for airships.
It's funny you say that because I had a thought like while watching a lot of these movies. I think Miyazaki has a love for airships because they're kind of almost like, whether they're in the main focus or peripherally, like they're somewhat involved in almost every movie. Like even in Kiki's, like in the beginning of the movie, there's like talk of like an airship, and then it's like the end like climactic piece that gets brought in. Like I think he just loves airships.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, he made a movie called The Wind Rises.
Oh yeah,
I never saw that.
I haven't either, but I'm interested because it was about a real life person, wasn't it? It was about a real life like mechanic who found out that like he wanted to fly, but because of his eyesight he couldn't. So he helped the war effort by making planes, but he found out that these planes were being made as kamikaze planes.
Mm.
Oh wow!
Jesus.
Yeah.
Such dark themes, like
with Miyazaki in general. He can make these.
Were you about to say war never changes?
I did. I wanted to be quiet because Jay was.
I'm sorry. Say it again. Let's get a clean take of that.
War never changes.
You get the harmonica.
It kind of got picked up. But this guy Miyazaki, who can make these like beautiful, like really wholesome, like this sense of innocence that's oh so pure. These beautiful worlds. He is like in real life like a pretty dark person actually. Like has such grim outlooks.
I'm looking at a picture. I'm looking at a picture of him right now on a park bench with a table in front of him.
Cutting his wrists.
And cutting his wrists. And there's his cat is laying on the table and he's lighting up a cigarette and he says, "Look how carefree he looks. Look at you. You have no schedule."
I actually love that.
Yeah.
Look at you. You have no schedule.
That sounds like nothing a whimsical Disney princess
Yeah.
would do. Like, oh, look at you, you pretty little bird, free to do whatever you want and not have to marry anyone that your father tells you to.
I made this point to my girlfriend the other day because I've recently gotten into reading a lot of Junji Ito, and he's kind of like the reverse Hayao Miyazaki, where like Miyazaki makes these like amazing, beautiful, heartwarming, slice of life, just everyone loves it animes, and like we just said, he's a pretty like dark, kind of to some extent depressed guy. And Junji Ito is just this like goofy recluse who is like really funny and just kind of is doing his own thing and is just capable of making these just horrific, awful images. It's too.
I love him.
Yeah.
He's like this wholesome being, but
Yeah.
like there's like clips of him looking at like horror games, like
Yep.
Five Nights at Freddy's, and he's like, oh geez, that was really scary.
Yeah.
It's so adorable.
There was a video I watched of him not too long ago where it was like BuzzFeed or something, like asked him to like review creepy pictures from around the internet, and one of the first things they showed him was an image of Siren Head, and he was like, "Oh, this I like. This is very good," or something like that.
That became a meme.
Yeah.
This, you know.
This.
Well, that's like that's a big theme with Howl's Moving Castle, where it's like, oh, like underneath the surface, people are way different than their outward appearance.
Mhm.
Like from Howl to the main character, like almost every character in the even the Scarecrow, who ends up being like the linchpin to the whole thing in the end of the movie. It's like you can never really like expect someone to be as they are on the outside, like what they show off to the world. And I think it plays into like, yeah, this is a guy who has like a very not even warped sense, just like a sense of how the world is. It's like I don't know enough about him to know like what he's seen or what he's been through, but I gotta imagine he's seen some shit in his life.
Yeah.
And he makes these super happy, like positive movies that I can't think of a single time when I've been watching one of these movies where I was like, oh, this sucks right now. Like this is like, you know, making me feel bad. It's like even the existential stuff in Spirited Away, it's like it's weirdly comforting actually that someone kind of sees things the way I see things.
I do want to add this point about Miyazaki in general. It's like he does make these worlds that are beautiful and seem innocent and stuff like that, but that also speaks to him. We're talking about how he's like, you know, I don't know a lot about him either besides the fact that I hear he is like more of a darker person in real life, or he has more of a depressing outlook on things, but you do see it seep in to his movies. Like when you see something that is supposed to be disturbing, it is truly disturbing in those movies. It's really coming from a dark place. And also you see it seep in when it comes to like the deeper subtext and themes, like how you just pointed out in Spirited Away. It's a Spirit and House. Those are two like really big kind of subtext. Like what does Hal do basically? He is basically like the beginning of what would be like almost a military industrial complex. Like he is like part of this war machine that is like doing battle, taking over lands, and like he is the advanced technology. They are using wizards to conquer like the world. They are the most advanced. And so like, and he hates it. Hal hates it. He knows what's going on, and he talks about how it's like he's doing it to stop the machines like him in a way. Like he's like, you know, I need to figure out how to do this. I need to hold them off in the meantime until I figure out how I can stop the wizards from doing this, or stop these countries from doing battle with each other, because like these are practically just war games right now, and everyone's getting hurt and they're getting caught in the crossfire. And that is a super dark theme.
Him going off like every night to like just fuck up planes and like try to protect towns is so interesting to me.
Fuck up some planes.
And he does battle with his own kind, and he like reflects on it. He's like, they're not even thinking like me anymore. They've lost themselves to this war. They can't even change back to like being human, and soon I will also be lost in this like machine. And same with Spirited Away. It's like such a deep take on capitalism. It's like she goes to this what is like an amusement park.
Yeah, like it's abandoned amusement park, but they go to this buffet, and her parents are fucking assholes through the whole thing.
Yeah,
they are like she had to move away. She couldn't really say goodbye.
Like, she was basically forced against her will to go move away, which shit happens like that when you're a kid, and that sucks. But they weren't in any way sympathetic to how she felt. They they're like, let's go inside this old abandoned amusement park, and Chihiro's like, no, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We're wandering into a forest. Hello? And they're like, it'll just be a minute. We'll find our way back. And then they keep going and keep ignoring her, and yet she still wanted to get her fucking parents back. And I'm like, you know what? Leave them as pigs. They deserve to be fucking pigs.
I had
the first shot
thought when I saw that movie where I was like, your parents kind of suck. You might be better off in this weird spirit world, dude.
When the parents
but they've been enticed by capitalism. That's all I want to say.
They've been enticed, when the parents first turn around and she sees that they've become pigs, that really fucked with me when I was a kid. That was some childhood trauma. But then also, like, going off of what you guys were just saying, the fact that maybe, you can probably say, like, okay, there was some magic involved to erase their memories or whatever at the end, but I think that I just choose to believe that they remember all the awful shit, but they're just choosing to gaslight her into being like, oh yeah, none of it was real. Like, none of it was real. Let's
funny.
just go.
At the end of it, like, oh man, I don't feel anything. It's like, you don't. You're being delusional. I want her to be the girl boss gaslighter.
Exactly.
Like, I just want to make a few more points about Spirited Away and how it involves capitalism. Like, they get turned into they get turned into pigs, right? Because they can eat as much as they want, and they don't know this like debt is being collected basically on them. Like that, eventually the main character has to like work at a bathhouse to pay off her parents' debts because they didn't know what they were getting into. And another thing about working there is that when it's a free market or whatever, you don't care who the customer is as long as they're paying. They can come in. So when
like
she
No
lets
Face is a big example.
No Face is eating the workers. No Face is but the owner, what's her name?
Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
We're supposed to like when we see her sister, we're supposed to be like, oh shit, her sister's bad. But no, we know Yagi Baba, is that her name? We know she's bad, but like we're kind of like thinking that her sister's bad as well. No, her sister wants nothing to do with that shit. Her sister's actually the good guy. She comes in, she's fucking around with this bigger system saying, fuck this is all fucked up. You don't need to be a part of this. Live in a swamp with me. Fuck all that.
Become Shrek, reject capitalism.
Become Shrek, reject capitalism.
But it's like this whole thing where like, they didn't care who the customer was. The customer like gives them all the gold they need, and before they know it, they have this huge problem that's eating everyone and fucking everyone up. That's kind of my little spiel. I mean, that's not a new take or anything. I'm sure people have said that.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. It's more so about greed more than anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Which it can be easily misinterpreted as capitalism, but the main takeaway was the greed. Like they kept greedily eating, and that's how they turned into pigs. No Face kept greedily consuming and has this innate need to consume. And when
hey, Republican State Rep Mike Smith, now might be a time for you to take a lesson from Miyazaki and get your shit together.
Yeah, stop making us forget our names.
So kids.
Stop making us work for you and so much that I forget my name, and then someone owns me, and I hate this, Mike Smith.
They own the copyrights to my name, and I can't fight it back.
I can't remember. I can't remember things about myself now. No.
Now I have to
You
get on
just
a weird
stole my
spirit
name, not
train.
clickbait?
Can you just imagine, like, Rob, for example? Rob shows up at his first day of Lowe's, and they're like, okay, so what's your name that's going to go on the ID card? And you're like, Rob, and they're like, yeah, well, not anymore. And they just give you a new name.
They
like,
just take the R
yeah.
and just off.
That's
You're
a
like-
great name.
yeah.
I bet you're really gonna miss it. Like, what?
Man,
You're gonna forget who you are now. What? Oh man. So
sometimes you gotta go where everybody knows your name.
cheers. Okay,
My-
I get it.
My favorite anime.
My Jesus Christ.
You know, it was funny. I would always see it on Adult Swim at 4 in the morning too.
yeah.
Don't sleep on Cheers, everyone.
Best anime out there.
Reject capitalism. Don't sleep on Cheers.
The two main takeaways of this entire episode.
That's the lesson we learned today.
I might cut my entire shitty spiel.
No, that was good.
I
I liked
You're,
that.
you're not wrong. Like and I'm sure that State Representative Mike Smith needed to fucking hear it. So
You
get his
also-
ass out of there.
You also had some
Get him
stuff
outta
to say. Well, you mentioned earlier the bathhouse scene was scary for you when you were a kid, Jake. But you said there was some other stuff in Spirited Away that kind of creeped you out. You mentioned the No Face scene when he first comes in earlier, and
Oh, yeah.
then
Actually, Jamie mentioned the thing I wanted to say. She
Oh.
hit it. It was the water spirit. Like when it says "well
Yeah.
done," I was like, "Holy fuck!" Like that is pretty. Fucking
Meanwhile, I'm
scary.
like, wow.
wow.
You are a tougher
Anime.
person than I.
No, I was more curious, I guess, to say, and naive than I was
You
as
have
a
that
kid.
Ghibli sense of wonder where I was just
That's
fearful of
basically
everything.
it. That's why I was
Yeah.
sucked in. Because I was like, what is this? I've never seen this cartoon like this before. And
Oh
I
my
guess that's what
gosh.
kind of lured me in.
Is there any other Ghibli movies we really feel like diving into? We can
Mm-hmm.
talk about Totoro for a moment. I do.
Oh
just
yeah,
wanna
we haven't
mention
even
that-
mentioned Totoro at all, really.
I just want to mention that
Hey,
I did
Totoro's
watch
not
Grave.
that good.
Totoro's not that good.
Really, you don't like it?
Okay, it's not that I hate it. It's just that it's kind of mid for me.
Okay.
Mm.
Like, considering, like, there's so much fucking merchandise for Totoro,
Okay.
there's
I get
not a lot, like,
Isn't
Here's my
Totoro the
complaint
like
about-
logo for Ghibli? Like when
basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like whenever
So-
each movie starts up, it's like Studio Ghibli, and then it's his image next to it,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Yep.
Totoro shaking
So,
his fat
here's
ass.
The same problem
No,
I
he's not
have
doing it.
with Totoro that Whisper of the Heart has. It's kind of boring. Like, it's not in the whimsy and intrigue that Kiki is, where, like, it's about this fantastical being that has an ordinary life and you learn how she deals with her magic and all that, and kind of, like, just some of the quirkiness to an ordinary life. The focus of Totoro is on the family. It is not about Totoro, and Totoro barely comes in the movie.
It's true. Yeah.
There's like 3 scenes I can think of. The one where May first meets her. The scene where they grow the big giant tree in the cat bus.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the movie, where Satsuki finds Totoro and Totoro summons the cat bus and they all go back together.
And at the bus stop, the Totoro
Yeah.
shows up there.
Yeah.
But
Like, basically, those 4 scenes in the whole movie. The rest is about the family. And it is adorable. I will give you that. It has that childlike whimsy that we've talked about Ghibli movies.
Mhm.
But it only gets you so far to watch it.
I am going to have to push back a little. Everyone has their own opinions, but
That's
I-
fair.
I did
But yours
find
is
like
wrong.
I did find that like watching it, like it was very obvious to me. It's like Totoro, whatever. He comes in and I actually like I think it's awesome, but I really love this like relationship between the sisters so much. And I watched it in the English dub and it's so good. And
It's a
I like I
realistic
said, I
thing
watched
to
Grave of the Fireflies last night and I got sad, but when when the older sister makes May cry and says like when they find out their mom isn't coming home because she's sick and says, why don't you just you just want mom to die, I bet, or something, and May just starts crying, I started crying. I was so attached to this relationship of like these sisters. I was so into what was going on. I was like, this is amazing. Like they have such a sense of wonder, not afraid of anything. It's
I will say the characterization of the two sisters is great. Because like Satsuki, because her mom is sick, has to take the role of big sister and mom archetype. She cooks meals, she takes care of May, she makes sure that she's safe. Like she's the one that's running out there at the end of the movie trying to find May. Like she's basically the basic mother figure. So when she finds out, because she's also upset about the mom like not being able to come home, like when she finds out, she's very calm and collected, while May, because she's like what, 4?
It's 4,
she's like she's like 4, she has no emotional control. She's upset because she wants to see her mom, and of course she's going to react that way. It's a very natural human childlike reaction to hearing your mom's not coming home tonight. But for Satsuki, she has to be the strong one. But there are times where she breaks, because like there's a point where she confides with like the old lady neighbor, and she tells her like, "This is so much for me to bear sometimes. I hate having to be the strong one sometimes," and she starts breaking down and crying.
Oh, that scene is so sad because like their neighbor is trying to comfort them, and that's when she breaks down. Satsuki, she goes, this is just like last time. They said mom was sick and she's not coming home. Maybe she's dead already, and she starts just crying. And it's truly so fucking sad because you're right. It's like basically towards the end is when there's dialogue between the mom and the dad, and the mom says, "Sometimes I feel Satsuki is like putting on an act more than like she lets us know that she's trying to be tough for her sister and us and everything." And the whole movie like basically is about in a time of stress, like deep stress, like the mom is ill with something. It's like alluded to that it might be terminal. You never know, but
they do actually say what kind of disease it is.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
What was it?
so it's like some rare lung disease that she has, but it isn't fatal. She's just very sick a lot.
Yeah.
I remember I was watching it with a couple of Discord friends, and every time we saw the mom, it's like, "But don't worry, she's gonna be okay."
But the movie's about like finding like in times of stress, like just trying to find your escape, and that's what Totoro is like he just comes when they're extremely down, and when they need a bit of hope every time. Like when it comes to
things of nature, please be upon us.
Yeah, I
and they will
planted
save your mom from certain death. But don't worry, she's gonna be okay.
Like I planted these acorns for mom. I hope they grow. They're not growing. And Totoro comes and he makes them sprout basically. Like, and then, oh, dad's late. Like, where's dad? You know, his bus just came by and he's not on it. Well, we're out here in the rain now. Totoro comes and he like literally kills time until the good thing happens. And I don't know. There was something really like magical about the whole thing. I could see how it's not like on Kiki's level of like I don't want to say like value. I don't know what the word would be, but there's like
quality.
An equivalency. Yeah, I guess quality.
That's a big word. So
yeah, that's a big word there.
I guess to say is like, I think value is probably a better word because I find more of a connection to Kiki than I do Totoro. For obvious reasons, I'm not a 12-year-old girl, and I don't have a dead
You're
mom.
not? Oh fuck! Wait, am I not a 12-year-old?
I thought we were all 12-year-old girls.
I thought we were all.
This is the 12-year-old girl podcast, of course.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
This is the buttery.
The buttery.
Female.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's be careful with that. Actually, a lot of people are getting.
I really.
That's why state representative.
Yeah, state representative Mike Smith. Yeah.
State Representative Mike Smith, stop this podcast.
Please.
I have
We've been allowed to go on for too long.
We've had it too good for too long.
I guess my final thoughts on Totoro is that it's okay, but it feels like the Return of the Jedi of the whole Ghibli franchise. It's just for the toys.
It's just for the
toys. Yeah, I could see that.
I have the full list of Ghibli movies up right now. I can run through if we want to give like snap
go.
reactions to the ones that we
Me
haven't
too.
mentioned yet.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So if we did talk about some of these, I'm sorry because my knowledge of these isn't as broad as all of yours. But
We'll just scream at you.
okay. Did we talk about Only Yesterday?
We mentioned it, yeah, but I've
no
never
opinions?
seen it. I haven't seen it. I don't know. It's
Nice.
that Isao Takahata's second film.
Apparently,
that he did.
it's the only Ghibli movie to have a. Oh, well, no, sorry. It's one of 2 Ghibli movies to have a perfect 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. The other one being Tales of the Princess Kaguya.
Really? Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is also his other work. That's so crazy.
Huh.
Good.
So that's why he's kind of the other star besides Miyazaki. Like Miyazaki has more, but maybe this guy's hit ratio is better.
Maybe, yeah.
But they're all really good. They're all rated really well, actually.
There's Ocean Waves. Did we mention that one?
I think I've heard
No.
of that one.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Whisper of the Heart.
I mentioned
Yep,
it.
she mentioned
Okay.
that.
I think I said this before, but imagine the whimsy of Totoro, but not there. That's what Whisper of the Heart is. It's a teen drama.
Okay.
Okay.
My
And
na-
it has nothing to do with the cat. It's only
That's-
in there for like one scene.
It's like a combo. That's like Miyazaki with this other person, Yoshifumu Kondo, who also did wait. No, I'm wrong. I'm looking at Whisper of the Heart. My bad.
What about
let's move on.
Wait, can I mention one more thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movie opens with Country Roads, and I'm not kidding.
Really?
That's too
Yes.
funny.
I
Yes.
saved that song to my Spotify playlist, the version that it is.
Yes.
Because it's so
I'm-
good.
Wait,
It's-
is it
I
is it a
watched it.
Japanese Country Roads?
Yeah.
No. It's
Oh, the
the
one-
the one they opened with.
Oops.
The one they opened with is the original Country Roads.
Oh, that's
Oh, I
All
interesting.
those
Ghibli
Heaven, West
Japanese
Virginia,
version of it.
like a whole thing. That's how they open the movie, and the credits are rolling. And then in the ending is the Japanese one that you're thinking of, Jake.
Oh,
Okay. That's the one I'm thinking of.
But
Alright.
yeah, as someone who watched it after Country Roads became a meme, I just started cackling. It was so funny.
There's My Neighbors the Yamadas.
I've heard of that one, but I haven't watched it
Yeah.
either.
No, that's also Isao Takahata. I have not seen that.
And then we're getting into a lot of the ones that we've mentioned is when Ghibli blew up. I don't think we mentioned Arrietty at all. I remember that
Oh, but
one.
Rob, you've seen that, haven't you?
No.
Arrietty?
Secret World of
It's
Arrietty.
it's like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids one.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like-
Yeah. I'm sorry. I keep thinking it's literally called The Borrowers, but that's the book it's based off of.
Yeah.
That movie is dope as shit. There's a lot of awesome stuff in that movie.
No, I'm kind of about it. It's okay. I haven't watched it in years though, and I have a personal vendetta with the person who plays the main girl because it's from a show I hated on Disney Channel.
What show?
Who's the actress?
Yeah.
It's so
I forget her name, but she's Teddy from Good Luck Charlie.
I don't
No
know.
idea what the fuck that is.
Bridget something or other, I think.
Okay.
Bridget Mendler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like her. I think
Okay.
I think they did it because Disney owns Ghibli and she's the big actor at the time.
Oh.
So that's why they cast her, and I don't like that.
Okay.
There's
Do you hear they're having a Totoro prequel that Disney's putting out? It's like his prequel story.
Hey, he's
Just
just
kidding,
a forest
it's not
spirit.
happening.
He has no other lore.
there's
It's like Solo. He has this pair of dice that we want to
Yeah.
know.
It is this paradise. Everyone's
He's
so
in
interested.
Paradise. You want to play Yahtzee?
It's funny, because Jake, you mentioned earlier that Goro Miyazaki doesn't have a great track record, but
I know. I
I'm
just saw
seeing,
this.
yeah, from Up on Poppy Hill has an 86%. I didn't know what that one
Look,
was.
That
Look,
was another
Jacob.
one of those romance teen dramas.
His
actually.
dad is directly involved with another director as well, Kiko
Yeah.
Niwa. So it's like, it's like he fucking had help. This guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He needed it.
And then I
fuck
think
it up.
that's when Marnie was there. Did we mention that
That was
one?
one of
seen
the
that one
last
either.
last ones. I think it was the
Yeah.
first one after Miyazaki kind of retired.
Right, because
Well, guess
after,
what?
yeah, and then there's another one coming
Okay.
out in 2023. Yeah, no, Jake, you can take it away on that one.
Yeah, this is what I'm really excited for, and maybe I have like one or two more questions that we can wrap up on. But, yeah, how do you live is coming out in 2023. Hayao Miyazaki entirely. He's the
Twilight.
only director, and so.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like the original producers as well from Studio Ghibli, like one of the main three, part of the trifecta of what makes Ghibli. Toshio Suzuki is producing it, so it's like this is going to be a Ghibli movie as far as I can tell.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. I don't really know what it's about.
I'm
but-
reading. It's based on a book. I'm reading the top line on it. It seems very Ghibli. It follows a 15-year-old boy named Junichi Honda, nicknamed Koperu, and his uncle as the youth deals with spiritual growth, poverty, and the overall experience as human beings. Like, that's that's about as Ghibli as you get.
Yeah.
Like
Very Totoro.
yeah.
And it also says dealing with
Poverty.
worldwide
I can
pandemic in the
Yeah.
Biden administration.
While
What
representative,
the hell is this
while
about?
Not
while Republican Representative Mike Smith listens to his podcast, and the child doesn't know how to deal with this fact. Yeah, no.
It's really funny
Follow
to
us
think
on
that
all sites.
someone who like passes laws might be listening to us.
God, I'm gonna get canceled by the government. I'm never gonna watch anime again.
Oh, we're gonna get black-sided for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
boy.
canceled as fuck right now. I guess the last question I would ask, maybe Jamie first, is
Okay.
if you were to recommend a Ghibli film to someone who's a non-anime viewer at all, what would you pick and why?
A non-anime. I would probably recommend a more action-y movie like Castle in the Sky, or maybe Howl, just because Howl's Moving Castle is probably the best one I'd recommend because it has the whimsy and magical, but it also has the action towards the end where the war happened and like things are starting to get very real. So I feel like as a movie, it'd probably be the most structural for them to kind of come into and be like, yeah, this is neat. I'll watch more.
Okay.
And then maybe show them Spirited Away, show
Mhm.
them some of the more lighthearted stuff like Totoro and Kiki.
Yeah, I like Kiki. Like I was bouncing back and forth between Kiki's Delivery Service or even that Lupin the Third movie, if we're even considering that Ghibli.
I feel
but
like Lupin the Third is for people who'd want to know about Lupin the Third.
It's a little more deep cut for sure.
that's the thing. Like that was my intro to Lupin, and like I feel like I don't need to know anymore. But that's me. I
The
don't
other
know.
movies are banger though. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? Yeah. The
Okay.
recent one that came out in 2019.
I've seen
so
scenes from that
good.
one, and it is
Oh,
badass.
it's so
as fuck.
good. I have it on
So,
DVD. It's amazing.
Yeah, I like that samurai fighting the Axeman is fucking so insane.
Yeah.
Is that from that one, 2019 one, or
Wait,
Like,
probably.
the samurai
Okay,
guy who's
So
part of Lupin's
Goemon is his
crew?
name.
Okay, yeah,
He was also in Cagliostro, by the way.
he is in that. Yeah,
Yeah. Goemon is his name. I haven't seen it in a bit, but I will say there is anime Hitler.
Always a
Oh,
plus.
boy.
Yeah,
Always
always a plus.
Always a plus. Because it takes place in the 60s when Lupin the Third was actually made.
Mm.
Like the late 60s.
I gotta say, I have one beef with Lupin, and it's the one time I tried watching the show on TV. It was the 60s show, and that I don't know if it's every intro song, but the intro song I heard was unbearable. It was a guy in almost a monotone voice just saying Lupin, Lupin.
Yeah, that's okay. Those are the early shit. Have you heard Okay, I'm gonna link it to you after the podcast. But by God, you should listen to the actual opening that they choose from going forward.
Okay.
It's on par with like a Bond,
Ooh.
or like a lighthearted Bond film.
Mm.
Okay.
Or like
I love that.
Persona 5, if you know about Persona 5. Because
Yeah,
Persona
yeah.
5 takes a lot of vibes from Lupin the Third. In fact, the persona the main character has is Arsène Lupin which is what Lupin the Third is based on.
Mm.
Wow. Okay, I could see that from the little bit I know about Persona.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's good shit.
Anyone else have any final words? Speak them now or forever hold your peace about Studio Ghibli.
I
Avoid
think
capitalism and become Shrek.
yeah, join me in the swamp. No, I think Howl's is maybe the definitive. Like, it's just so hard, at least for an American audience. I think if you're trying to like show someone, because that was Jazz is the one who showed me all the Ghibli stuff. Like, again, I never watched any of it as a kid, and she was trying to figure out what to show me first, and it came down to Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle, and she landed on Howl's. And I gotta say, Howl's Moving Castle, from the rip, is just so encapsulating, and I can't think of, like, I think the first time I watched like Lupin, I actually fell asleep near the end of it and had to watch it again like the next day.
Shameful.
But I know, right? But you know,
Get that anime background out of here. You don't deserve Aqua.
Get
I'm
those
a
anime
Gundam
titties
fan,
out
damn
of
it.
here.
Then why you got an isekai anime in the back?
There were
In
no
the
giant
back.
robots
In the
fighting,
back.
so you didn't respect it as much as I should have. But I think Princess Mononoke is really good. I think they're all good, but Howl's is the one, at least in my opinion. Like, if I was trying to get someone into it, maybe Spirited Away, but I think I would be first, like, you got to watch Howl's. After that, you can watch them in any order, like any, you know, you can kind of just watch them ad nauseum, but I think Howl's is the one to get people into it.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, any final thoughts?
Yeah, and I would say probably either Castle in the Sky or Kiki's. Like, I like a lot all the other. I haven't seen as many of them as you guys have, but Castle in the Sky just has a special place in my heart because Iron Giant was my favorite movie when I was a little kid, and I love the big silent robot that it carries over. It's just, I don't know, that has that nostalgia factor for me. But yeah, and then Kiki's was, well, I hadn't seen Kiki. I saw as an adult because Jamie had me watch it, and that was
It was for my birthday.
it was for her birthday. Yeah, it was.
That's a great birthday party, actually.
Yeah, it was
Kiki's.
it was a good one. So I would probably, yeah, if someone's not familiar, Castle in the Sky is my favorite. But then, yeah, to get someone into it, I would probably, either Castle in the Sky or Kiki. I'd probably say.
That's a good choice too, Castle in the Sky.
Or if they just want something to not think about it, Cat Returns and Porco Rosso are also, like, you can just put them on and kind of laugh.
Rosso.
Yeah. There's a great line they used it in like that whatever company acquired Ghibli, like they put out a thing where it's like, here's all these movies that we are gonna put out, and they showed a couple like 10 or 15 seconds from each one. And they did one from Porco Rosso where there was like, he's like a pilot that gets turned into a pig is the plot, and there's the clip that they chose is there's a scene where a guy is yelling at him and he goes, "I'll tell everyone you're chicken," I'll tell everyone you're a coward, and the guy who's the pig is like, dude, I'm a fucking pig. I'm not.
He actually
chicken.
curses.
He curses. No,
dude, I'm a fucking pig.
I don't.
I'm a
yeah.
fucking pig.
Dumb motherfucker, you.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Get out. What about you, Jake? What would you recommend?
Like I said, I think I would do either Kiki's or that Lupin the Third movie, but in my heart, yeah, it's like, I think Howl's is my favorite, so I might just be biased to showing that. And just say, hey, look at Christian Bale, like, do his thing.
Yeah.
Just kind of like how
Hey,
Rob
look, that's
did it to
Christian
me.
Bale. There he
Look
is.
at Christian Bale transcends stage and screen again.
Really good. All right, well, Jamie, thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute
thank
delight.
you.
Added some
That's
amazing
awesome.
insight, and you obviously have a love for anime, but Studio Ghibli as well, and so we really appreciate it. Is there anything you want to plug? You want to plug where people can find you on social media or anything like that?
Sure, I guess. On everywhere. I am Miss Nintendo Chick. I have a YouTube channel. I have an Instagram. I have a Twitter. And that's about it, really. But I mainly post memes, and sometimes I get very bored at work and I draw.
I was
Oh,
just
yeah.
about to say you've got some pretty good skills with a pen at work.
It's literally just a ballpoint dollar pen and a notepad.
Well,
And,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, find her there, folks. See some of those badass drawings she's effortlessly doing with the ballpoint pens.
Yes.
Blind.
Blindfolded, yeah.
Literally, I'm not looking. I don't even know what I'm drawing right now.
And
It's
you look down and you're like,
I
oh
don't
yeah,
know.
sure, this is Instagram worthy.
We forgot to mention she's blind and she saw these Studio
Yeah.
Ghibli.
I'm like top. I'm like,
Yeah.
Jacob, you want to do your plugs?
Yeah, Watchlist Podcast, all the same places you listen to this. You can find me on Instagram, jacob.boyer.media, and then, yeah, that's about it.
Rob, with the SIG in hand, looking cool as shit, you want to do our plugs?
Yeah, follow the Buttery Males podcast on Instagram, Twitter. You can go on Spotify and rate us 5 stars.
That
you
was so
cannot rate us.
perfectly timed.
You cannot rate us anything lower than 5 stars. It's illegal.
or else the state representative will have our heads.
Yeah, Mike Smith will fucking get your ass. Okay.
He's
I
our
love
number
actually-
one fan. He will find you.
Yeah, we got connections in government now.
He's
Okay?
got connections. You better subscribe.
And as always,
Oh,
if you like this episode or any episode of the Buttery Males podcast, just send it off to a friend or two. You don't have to pitch it. You don't have to tell them it's the greatest podcast of all time. Just share it around. See if your friends like it. You might end up finding out that you both like our podcast, or maybe you both hate our podcast. And either way, you have something
bond
to
over
talk
your
about.
mutual hatred for us, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Representative Mike Smith, I know you're out there. I know you're listening, and you're. I am hesitant to say you're my hero in any role. Yeah. I think that about covers it, y'all.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. Have a
Get
good
outta
one,
here.
guys. Get out of here.
Get it.
Bye.